inside my heart I feel it would shout like a crowd dancing. I guess I can live without things that make my life what it is.
Oh look, wow, just what we need. Another adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. That is a completely original idea. But no, really, I actually don't mind this movie. I'm not really bashing on it for that. I actually really enjoy A Christmas Carol. I've read the original story a little while back, and have been watching a few adaptations in the past couple of years, and have been really enjoying the tale. As I grow older, I can get a few more of the intricacies of it, and admire more than The Muppets Christmas Carol, which, by the way, is still one of the best adaptations, ironically enough. But this is not The Muppets Christmas Carol. This is Robert Zemeckis from Polar Express, and more particularly my favorite, Beowulf, newest motion capture movie, and it's in 3D, so it does have a 3D moments. But do I really need to summarize the story for A Christmas Carol? Okay, I will, for those that aren't in the know. Basically, A Christmas Carol is about a stingy old man in 18th century London, and he goes about his business, really kind of a douche, goes home on Christmas Eve, is visited by the ghost of his dead business partner, and tells him he's going to be haunted by three spirits. Three spirits come, goes to Christmas past, goes to Christmas present, goes to Christmas future, and over the course of the night reform him, and at the end he learns the spirit of Christmas, and be nice to his fellow man. It's a pretty typical story. It's what you'd expect. Obviously, there's not a huge amount of changes, though I must say one thing I did admire about this movie is that it really did stick to the original tale quite a bit. There are a few moments that it deviates, and those moments generally fail. But I will get to that later. So, the characters in this, what can I say, largely just the acting, I guess. Jim Carrey plays Scrooge and all three ghosts outside of Marley. So, I mean, there's really not much to say. Jim Carrey does pull off a very good performance, especially as Scrooge. He's really fantastic. The Reformation scene, while I did really like it, I thought it was a lot of fun. It did seem more Jim Carrey than the rest of the movie, which was just really well acted. I really appreciated that. He managed to tone himself down, and this is definitely up there with his better performances. As for the other main actor, would be Gary Oldman, who plays Cratchit and plays Marley's ghost. Bob Cratchit, that is, by the way. And he does a really good job as well. I was actually quite surprised. He plays a really, really emotional performance, and he does particularly well as Bob Cratchit. Marley's ghost is a little overplayed, but in all fairness, it was a little overplayed in all the other adaptations and the book as well. I think the scene doesn't come off as scary sometimes. If you really stop to look at it, the whole screaming thing that he does in all of them, I don't think is scary. Anyway, that's not a fault of this movie, that is a fault of the original story, so I'm not going to dock this movie for it. The movie largely goes through the paces. Like I said, kind of an odd situation is that everyone knows the story so well, and most everyone knows the story so well already. But if you like A Christmas Carol, this is probably a cool thing to go see. The 3D, I must say, is kind of intrusive. There is especially a sequence in Ghost of Christmas Future where it goes into a series of sight gags, which just totally destroyed the mood, and I really hated it because it made me hate that scene almost. And particularly the Ghost of Christmas Present, instead of just going to the houses of people, he goes there, but he basically goes there via a flying house that you can see through the floor of, and you could really tell that was made just for the 3D gimmick, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but there's so many better uses you could have done it for. And they did have a couple of them. When Scrooge looks outside the window after Marley beckons him there to see all the other people trapped in purgatory that have lost their ability to help others and to go back to, or go and get to heaven or anything, it is really scary because you can see these hundreds of people, not even just flying in the air like if you've seen the Patrick Stewart version, but just trapped and locked mid-air by chains and locks, and it's a really powerful scene. The Marley scene itself, too, I did like outside of the jaw gag, which, again, really seemed unnecessary. It wasn't as bad as the Ghost of Christmas Future one, but could have been better, could have been left out. One thing I will say, one part I did find really cool, was that it did include the Ghost of Christmas Present revealing the children of men, ignorance and want, under his cape, and that was actually a pretty creepy scene. And the majority of the Ghost of Christmas Future scene I actually enjoyed. I mean, They did change it up a little. The Ghost of Christmas Future is now a chariot. Well, starts out as a chariot horseman chasing Scrooge through the streets of London, and that does work. Actually, amazingly enough, it does work, and did fit in the time period until he shrinks, and that is the god awful sequence I was talking about. But outside of that, even the Ghost of Christmas Future manages to pick itself back up, because it is really scary when he gets to that grave, and it is very, very intense for a younger audience. This can be seen by kids, don't get me wrong, but they might be a tad frightened by it if they're very young. Other than that, this is actually a really, really fun movie. I would advise go seeing it. It hasn't really got enough business to its credit, you know? I mean, I think it deserves a little more business than it's got. It's not the best movie, sure, but there's really not that many Christmas movies, and it's got a good message. This is faithful to the tale to a large extent, and the performances aren't bad. The trailers and commercials make it look like crap. I know for a fact I got dragged to this movie, but ended up enjoying it. So, if you are interested at all, then I would go see this movie. If you can find it at a matinee showing, that's particularly beneficial for you, but if not, this is probably worth spending full price on if you're interested.